I've been that guy. While you was at home doing this, I was in the club making moves.
Jake Paul, if this is not going to be, curated into a little dance around exhibition, could find himself in a way of getting seriously hurt here, like Francis Ngannou did.
Anthony Joshua has finally broken his silence after Jake Paul's new training footage sent shockwaves through social media, with fans analyzing every slow-motion punch and power combination from Paul's latest camp video. Joshua's reaction injects even more momentum into the escalating hype. As a former unified heavyweight champion, AJ isn't easily impressed, but he's clearly observing. And with Paul appearing sharper, quicker, and more disciplined than ever, Joshua's response reflects both respect for Paul's progress and confidence that experience will ultimately rule when the two finally meet under the lights on fight night.
Anthony Joshua should not get in the way of Fury and Joshua, really, in my view. It's an absolute joke. It shouldn't be sanctioned. I really don't believe it should be sanctioned. I have a sneaking suspicion that it would be a very big fight. But the biggest thing is us rubbernecking to actually see if they do get to the point where they step in the ring together. Because Jake Paul's an area-level fighter, a British area-level fighter, and Anthony Joshua is still a killer and a live heavyweight. That should not be sanctioned anywhere in the world, in my view.
It's dangerous, mate.
Very dangerous.
It brings the sport into disrepute. The people that are talking about organising that, they should have a real hard look at themselves.
But even Eddie Hearn's kind of teasing he doesn't like it, but you can see the glitz of dollars.
There's no price. There is no price.
There shouldn't be.
There's absolutely no price.
Agree with you.
Planet.
Back when Paul was still cutting his teeth in boxing, Joshua offered what many viewed as a surprisingly respectful endorsement. In a 2025 interview, when asked about Paul, Joshua simply remarked that he's good for boxing. That early comment revealed a willingness to acknowledge Paul's impact in drawing fresh interest to the sport, even as many doubted his long-term future. Fast forward to now, the matchup is no longer theoretical, and the stakes have escalated. Paul, carrying a 12-1 record with 7 KOs, steps into the greatest test of his career. Joshua, the former unified heavyweight champion, enters at 28-4.
Fight Anthony Joshua now. How do you think that's going to go?
Man, Anthony Joshua, I don't know why I think Anthony Joshua would knock him out. No disrespect to Jake Paul, I think Anthony Joshua would knock him out. I'm saying like within like 2-3 rounds.
Yeah.
You saw what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou?
Yeah.
Come on. I ain't never seen Francis get knocked out.
Yeah, that's huge too.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
huge.
both huge.
Yeah, he's huge. But you gotta hear the story. You gotta get Francis Ngannou in here and hear this story though.
I'd love to.
Bro, he was set up though, for real. I believe
On that fight?
Yeah, I believe him. Cause here's what they do, like what sometimes what people don't understand. Like in boxing too, I don't know a whole lot about boxing. You know, when you fight for promotion, they promote that fighter. So he's fighting in Saudi Arabia. So they was probably fighting at 3 a.m. and they had him in the locker room since like 12.
Back when Paul was still cutting his teeth in boxing, Joshua offered what many viewed as a surprisingly respectful endorsement. In a 2025 interview, when asked about Paul, Joshua simply remarked that he's good for boxing. That early comment revealed a willingness to acknowledge Paul's impact in drawing fresh interest to the sport, even as many doubted his long-term future. Fast forward to now, the matchup is no longer theoretical, and the stakes have escalated. Paul, carrying a 12-1 record with 7 KOs, steps into the greatest test of his career. Joshua, the former unified heavyweight champion, enters at 28-4.
Nothing negative. He's here to do his job. I could sit up here, as I said, and try and address all the things that Jake doesn't do good. But I'm fighting the Jake that's going to do everything good on December 19th. So let me focus on that. He's a good person, does his thing, great team around him, puts in the work, and that's why he's sitting here now. Anyone out there in the world that works harder than the next person deserves to be a front runner, and he's a front runner in the boxing game right now.
Respect. Jake, can I ask, it feels to me from afar, you're in a bit of a lose-lose here, because it seems like a lot of people want to see you get obliterated, right? A lot of people want to see you get your comeuppance. And if you do pull off the upset, or if this fight goes the distance, again, the whispers will start to come. People will discredit you. People will say, this, that, and the other about the fight. How do you balance that, and how do you deal with that?
Man, I've already won at every single thing in life. I'm playing on house money. I've accomplished all my dreams, said everything I was gonna do. from becoming, the first influencer to become an actor on Disney, to becoming the biggest YouTuber in the world, to rising to the top of boxing and having the largest viewed fight in the history of the sport. I've accomplished everything, so this is a win-win and another challenge for myself. I've never been knocked down or knocked out even in sparring, but I'm in a sport where that happens, and I know this is dangerous, but this is no different than a soccer player, losing in the World Cup on the biggest stage. If that's how it goes, if I take one of those punches that Francis Ngannou took and I'm on the canvas, let's see how tough I am. Let's see if I can get back up. But I'm ready for that. I'm prepared for that mentally, and I know that he has to deal with me as well. This is not as one-sided fight as people think, and I have power. I have the ability to put people to sleep, and so that's why I took this challenge. And I know it's crazy and all of that, but I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited. My team's excited, and everyone believes in me, and that's all that matters.
How much do you expect to weigh on fight night?
Man, I was cutting down for Gervonta, so it's been a little tough getting back up in some strength for this, but anywhere 215 to 225, we'll see.
Okay, and I want to clear something up with you, AJ. I saw in the press release that it said that on weigh-in day, you can't weigh above 245, but post weigh-ins, you can weigh whatever you want. There's no rehydration clause or anything like that. Is that accurate?
Whatever it says, yeah, I think that's the case. But my focus, 111 kilograms is what I got to weigh in at, right? I do kilograms, not
Yeah,
pounds.
I don't know. You stumped me on that one. What is 111?
Jake Paul says this fight is his moment to silence every critic who has insisted he only targets smaller or past their prime opponents. He argues that by stepping in against Anthony Joshua, a true heavyweight and former world champion, he is finally proving he belongs at the sport's highest tier. According to Paul, once he beats Joshua, every doubt disappears. No one can deny me. The Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua bout will be a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight contest under the marquee of Queensberry rules. They will fight 8 rounds, each 3 minutes, wearing 10-ounce gloves. Critically, Joshua must weigh in at no more than 245 pounds, creating a firm cap to keep the matchup competitive. A win or defeat will count on each man's professional record. This is a real deal.
They said, fight someone your size. They said, fight a world champion. We looked at a long list of supposed fighters for me to fight. The world. Make no mistake, this is the biggest fight of my career. I'm walking into the lion's den. I'm doing something that no one else has ever done before. I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix. My voice cracked, I'm still going through puberty. The biggest fight of 2025, USA versus UK. He's got the belts, the size, the history, but I have the balls. Be careful what you wish for. Jake versus Joshua, Judgment Day. He has a 90% knockout ratio, but I have a...
Teddy Atlas offers a cautiously intrigued perspective on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua matchup. While he warns it may be a step too far for Paul, given the vast divide in class and experience, he doesn't dismiss the fight outright. He points to Joshua's recent knockout loss and extended layoff, suggesting there may be ghosts in his attic that leave him vulnerable. And although he acknowledges Joshua is still the more skilled and heavier puncher, Atlas says he's willing to take that step to see which version of AJ actually shows up.
Version of AJ will show up.
Having said all of that, this might be a step too far. Now, when I say it, I'm also, I try to be responsible. I've been in this game 50 years, so I know where not to step, where you could twist an ankle, or worse, you could break a leg or fall down. When I say that with the understanding, too, that Joshua's coming off being knocked out. Joshua hasn't fought for a year, right? But it's about a year. And there's some ghost in his attic. There are. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's gotten rid of some of them, but I know that in the position of a fighter coming where he's coming from, there are ghosts in your attic. I don't know if those ghosts are still taking up space. I don't know if maybe there could be no better exorcism for those ghosts than fighting a Jake Paul. That might be just the exorcism you need to clear out the attic. I don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. That's the mystery part of this. That's what makes it so, it makes it two things at once. Intriguing and...
Ryan Garcia reflects on the potential life-altering impact this fight could have on Jake Paul if he loses. He notes that Joshua's power is not something to take lightly, and a defeat could affect Paul not only in a physical sense, but also in reputation and long-term career trajectory. The experience could be transformative, underscoring the enormous challenge Paul is stepping into. Garcia stresses that Joshua's punching power and technical ability make this a serious examination, and the consequences of failure are very real. Training, preparation, and awareness are essential for Paul to navigate the dangers Joshua brings into the ring. One major concern surrounding Joshua taking on Jake Paul is that AJ has only competed twice in the past 2 years. Following a split decision loss to Oleksandr Usyk in 2022, Joshua's activity has become far more sporadic.
Anthony Joshua. By far? Yeah. Too easy.
Why did he take that fight?
I think he didn't have no opponents and he wanted to make Netflix happy and I think he made a misstep. I think he was handling his career perfectly.
Yeah.
I think he would have beat Gervonta.
I think he would have beat Gervonta too.
But I think this is a big misstep. I think he let his ego get in from him and let
Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua isn't merely a bold gamble. Many experts argue it's a significant threat to his health. Boxing figures like Ariel Helwani warn that Joshua's sheer power and experience could subject Paul to severe punishment, citing devastating knockouts as a legitimate and looming concern.
Knockouts as a genuine concern.
Joshua, in his last 7 fights, has been beaten 3 times. The 4 fighters that he beat didn't come to win. So he's not in his prime, is he? He's literally at the end of his career, pretty much finished. And this is why taking this fight with you is telling you all you need to know. It's a cash out. He might as well just cream as much money as he can at the end of his career, fighting an absolute joke shop in clown world. When I beat Anthony Joshua, he says, every doubt disappears. Come on. I mean, if this is a straight up AJ versus Jake Paul, then we all know what should happen. This is a 1-round job because AJ, even though he's past his best, even though he's seen better days, he throws a nice 1-2 down the middle. He's got a nice bit of distance, and fake Paul can't fight. He just can't. I don't care what anybody tells me. He can't fucking fight. He lost to Tommy Fury for crying out loud. You can't jump in with Anthony Joshua now and expect to get a result. So, nothing's going to no doubt's going to
I don't. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
Come on, bro. You're fighting like one of the best heavyweight fighters in the world against a YouTuber. Like, come on. Like, respect the sport of boxing. And if AJ has to go in there and show these influencers that, listen, you can't fuck about with boxing. You know what I mean? Someone's going to get hurt badly. And this could be one of the first fights where a fighter gets hurt badly because if you look at the size difference and the power difference, I mean, bro, there could be brain damages going on there. I mean, AJ could hurt him badly, you know.
When you look at Francis Ngannou, who's one of the most fearsome combat styles there is. I know it's MMA, but we saw what AJ did to Ngannou. So,
and that's why you don't look. You can't be surprised if AJ's going to do the same to what was it called again?
Rising heavyweight Moses Atama even urged Paul to prioritize his health over the payday, warning that a single misjudged punch could leave lasting damage. Meanwhile, former pro Amir Khan stated bluntly that Joshua could hurt him severely. There could be brain damage.
Is it all just, does he actually believe that he can beat Anthony Joshua? Is it all for clout? Is it all just to keep his... I don't know. I mean, fucking... It's a little bit disrespectful as well. Like, Anthony Joshua hasn't fucking been a heavyweight world champion, beating all these absolute killers just to get called out by Jake Paul. But look, if Jake Paul believes in himself, then, you know, you can't really fault that. Like, obviously, but sometimes it comes across as a bit...
David Haye has delivered a stark warning about the upcoming Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup, calling a clear and dangerous mismatch. Speaking to Sky News, Haye argued that Joshua could inflict devastating damage on Paul and voiced serious concern that Paul's safety is genuinely at risk. He stated bluntly that if Paul underestimates Joshua's size, power, and experience, the fight could end up being his last day on earth. There's an enormous physical disparity between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. Joshua stands 6 feet 6 inches with an 82-inch reach, while Paul measures around 6 feet 1 inch with a 76-inch reach. Joshua typically weighs 240 to 245 pounds, but for this fight, he is capped at 245 pounds. By contrast, Paul spent most of his career as a cruiserweight and has only recently bulked up to roughly 227 for previous heavyweight outings. This size and weight advantage could give Joshua a significant edge in both power and reach.
Are you confident it'll happen?
I wasn't confident when I first heard about it. It sounds like one of those fairy tale fights that people talk about but don't actually get over the line. I heard this 3-4 months ago. I just dismissed it. I heard it a week ago. I went along with it, but deep down I thought this isn't going to happen. And today it's been made official. Jake Paul is going to get in a ring in a boxing match, boxing gloves, to mix it with one of the most dangerous heavyweights on the planet, someone who is Olympic gold medalist, won the heavyweight championship twice. Although he lost his last fight against a very good Daniel Dubois, he's a top 10 heavyweight on the planet versus internet sensation, someone who's a latecomer to boxing and has boxed at a very moderate level. I'm talking domestic level. And he lost to Tommy Fury, for instance. And Tommy Fury, who he lost to, versus Anthony Joshua, they're two completely different sports. So I commend Jake Paul for putting himself in harm's way, because boxing is a dangerous game. People have died in the ring. People have been seriously injured, maimed. And he believes in himself enough to do it on a massive scale, because it's not about the money. He's got enough money. This is him wanting to push the boundaries of reality. He's manifested an amazing life for himself. He's a superstar, and I think he wants to try and do the unthinkable. He wants to. It's an insane challenge he's put himself up for, but you've got to give him credit.
You say an insane challenge. You've described it before as Jake Paul being a cat versus Anthony Joshua's lion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not equally matched on any sense, are they?
There's not one element of their boxing skill set that Jake Paul can come 15, 20% in regards to Anthony Joshua. He's a completely different specimen. Look, you'll see what it looks like when they stand next to each other. And Anthony Joshua, he's not a bodybuilder. He's a prime athlete. He's someone who's dedicated his life to this. He lives it. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. He's a real clean athlete who is going to inflict some horrendous damage to Jake Paul. And I hope we've got a referee in there who's quite compassionate, because if Jake Paul is left, up against the ropes with Anthony Joshua unloading on him.
On the other hand, Joshua's team is banking on a swift and brutal performance. Hearn has boldly predicted that Paul will be obliterated within 4 rounds, claiming that as soon as Joshua lands a clean chin shot, the fight will be over. Hearn has framed the bout as a necessary step